right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of your favorite podcast. I don't know, hosted by your two favorite gals, Sana and
Jackie. Hello.
Hello. We told y'all we were going to be consistent.
I know. Look at us.
Look at us. So
Look
proud.
at us, y'all. So proud, gang.
Yeah.
But yes, episode 52.
Episode 52.
Here we
We
are.
got it right this time.
We did, yes. We're back on track, everyone.
Back on track.
Back on track.
Back on track.
But we're happy to be here. So excited. I hope everyone's having a good 2024.
Oh, we're halfway through
Through the first month.
Yeah.
It's already been kind of a bit of a wild ride, just within the world, just with like different random things and
Like what?
I don't know, just like the major like stupid gossip of like the Selena, Timothy Chalamet, Kylie Jenner thing at the Golden Globes.
Okay, now that you brought that up, do we think that she was talking about them?
100% she was. She's sitting there saying that she wasn't, and it's like, no, you absolutely
I don't know
were.
the relationship between her and Timothy.
Yeah, I don't know either, but it just feels like it is. Because also that other girl, whoever is with Taylor Swift, I don't know these people's names.
Who was with Taylor Swift?
I have no idea. And she said Timothy. Like that's what
She mouthed it.
Yeah, she mouthed it. And I mean, according to TikTok, which we know is always right, everyone.
TikTok is better than the FBI, some would say. You know what I mean?
Better than the CIA.
Yeah.
All these lip readers were saying that she was saying. But then again, you could put any words in there and it just looks like
it'll fit.
Yeah. Well, before we get into it, of course, weekend update. Life update. What have you been up to? What'd you do this weekend?
Weekend update. What did I do? Saturday I went out with a few friends, dinner, and I was in WeHo. Sunday I went to, I always butcher this name, La Antica de Michel.
Yeah.
Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's
Italian. Like, I'll butcher it too, so don't.
I think it's La Antica de Michel.
Yeah.
They just opened a location in Long Beach.
Yes.
It's from Naples in Italy. They have a location in
Hollywood.
Hollywood.
Yes.
I think they have one more. New York.
Maybe
They
in
do
New
have
York.
New York. They do have New York.
It's like only 3 locations in the U.S.
Yeah, so they just opened one in Long Beach like
Yeah.
a week ago. So, I had to go eat my pizza.
It's the best. Honestly, if you have not tried it.
It's so good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's like, that's the whole thing. It's like direct from Naples. Because outside of Hollywood, which I think might have been their first location in the U.S. before New York, it was only in Naples. That's it. And it is so good. It is like true, authentic.
It's so good to the point that I've been to the one in Naples. I've been to the one in Hollywood.
And now
Long Beach.
You haven't done New York. You just got to almost bingo.
New York is kind of hard though. New York pizza's good everywhere.
That's
so like,
true. That's so true.
I don't know if in New York I would, especially because I have it back home. I want to try like.
Yeah, if you don't have it back home, you want to try it where you don't have it.
Amazing. So I did that on Sunday. Friend of the pod, Rouge, moved into my building this weekend.
So fun.
Building
mates.
Yeah, building mates. So I helped her move in. I taught on Saturday, like very low key.
Yes.
Worked out. Nothing crazy.
Nothing too
How
crazy.
about yourself?
Yeah, it was really low key. I honestly don't even really remember what I did. Saturday was just kind of very much like a lazy day. Woke up late. I couldn't get into your class in the morning. So, that was that.
That was a shame.
It was a shame. But like woke up late and then just ran some errands, got stuff done, did some light grocery shopping type of thing because I was hungry and I knew if I continued to grocery shop, I would have bought the entire store.
Yeah, I get that.
And then Sunday I worked. I was really excited though because I had Monday off because of MLK day and I've got a storage unit. I'm so excited.
Why did you get a storage unit?
Because I have like Christmas decor and boxes. Like,
oh, I didn't know you did that.
Yes.
Aren't they kind of expensive?
No. So typically they are, but they're running like a lot of specials right now. So I got mine for $24 a month, which is like super unheard of.
How much stuff do you have though?
Well, it's not like a ton. So I got like a very small space. I got like a 5x5. It's like a large closet, really. Like that's really what it is. But I have like, because I host holidays, like, for my family. So I have like folding chairs. I have like a stack of 4 of them, and it's like, I could figure it out in my apartment, but I don't want to because it starts making
for
it look
$24.
cluttered. Yeah. And I have like my Christmas boxes,
Yeah.
which I can't put anywhere in my apartment. And I took like some other stuff out of my closet because I want my closet to be a little bit more less chaotic. So I was very excited.
How close is it to your spot?
It's not, I don't know, probably what, like 15 minutes.
Oh, that's not
away.
bad.
So it's not bad. There is one that's literally walking distance, but
they were
not having specials. And I was like,
we can't go. We go where the specials are. We're
gotta,
brown gals.
We're brown gals. We gotta go where the sale is.
Yeah. That's what we do.
If Susan, my mother, taught me anything, you hit the sale rack first.
Yeah, I mean, I'm Indian. That's what we do out here.
Yeah, the brown people.
We like to save $1.
We don't like to pay full price.
We don't ever. Yeah. I hate paying full price.
I hate paying full price.
My favorite price is free.
Absolutely. Favorite price is $0. So anyway, so I was really excited about that. But I was excited because it just like decluttered my space.
Yeah.
And it makes me feel so good. And I don't know. I like it.
I'm glad. I'm happy for you.
Thank you so much. And you're getting older when you're like
excited about that.
So excited.
Yeah.
I like packed up my car and it was just,
you're like, you couldn't wait.
Yeah. I was like, this is so exciting. So anyway.
I'm happy you had an eventful weekend.
Thank you so much.
Very nice. Very nice.
But anyway, so let's get into today. We decided, because San and I are always talking.
We're always not only talking, we're always debating.
And it's really funny because now we've recognized that we need to save some of this stuff for the pod.
Yeah.
Because that's what inspired us to have a podcast in the first place. Is
we're always debating.
We're always debating.
Yeah.
Which we love. I personally love that I have a friend that we can agree to disagree at the end of it. And that it doesn't cause like a rift between us, basically. Yeah. We get close, but never full. I think we've crossed over the line maybe a couple times, but anyway. And of course, we're always watching, we're always sending each other TikToks. But San and I were talking today, and we started talking about the notion and the idea of if he wanted to, he would. Mm-hmm. And the statement that if you're in the dating world, or if you have been in the dating world, you've heard this multiple times.
Yeah. I mean, over TikTok, over social media, you hear men and women talking about it constantly. So we thought we would unpack it a little bit today because I think this is actually a very loaded statement. Sana and I agree on some points and then strongly disagree on others, which is fine. But anyway, so kind of like to start just I don't know, maybe like the definite, like what's your definition of if he wanted to, he would? If he wanted to, he would. I think if you mattered that much, if he was that interested, he would go to the lengths.
Yeah.
Like if he wanted to text you, he would. If he wanted to take you out, he would. If he wanted to see how your day was going, he would. Like I'm very much about a man, if he wants you, his ass will pursue you.
Yeah.
So when girls are like, and sometimes we do this where we're like, well, like maybe he didn't like my response or maybe I didn't give him anything to respond to. We make excuses. Yeah. No. I've been in so many situations where I leave guys on red and then they'll send it again because if they want to, they will.
I think I agree with that. I think my definition is somewhat similar. It's just kind of like what a man... how do I say this? Because I swear to God, I'm going to contradict myself later. It's kind of just like typically in most cases, if a man does want something, there is that drive to go get it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes even further than relationships. It goes into career. It goes into all those aspects. I think it does though. Like,
yeah. Because typically you see that drive.
And
which is something that like I know you and I are attracted to and we find attractive from a guy. And just the passion and the pursuit of anything, whether it be, us, in dating or like he, successful and going after what he wants and, just making it happen.
Yeah.
So I think that's the thing. I think I would maybe say like making it happen.
Making it happen. Yeah. Making it happen is the best way to put it. Making it happen.
Yeah. But here's where I think, and we'll really get into it. But I think I have a really big problem with this statement because I think that it is just too much of a blanket statement for things that can be very, very complicated. So
yes and no.
Yeah. So, well, I'm kind of there. I feel like I lean more towards the no, but I do, and like I said, we'll get into it. So I feel like where do you feel like this statement applies?
Definitely in the beginning phase. Like when you're, I think mostly in the pursuit phase. I mean, I think so. That in the, I think
disagree.
it's, you don't think though if you wanted to in the pursuit.
Well, Okay, so again.
All right. I think it's mostly in the pursuit phase because you got to show you want that woman. Like, I mean, I've come to find out a lot of weird shit this past week. And actually, I would like to bring us to the ladies before we get into this.
Okay.
Because I had a debate with a certain someone and regarding women not wanting to be walked to their car.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing a thing that there's a whole side of females that do not want to be walked to their car.
Which that
I know it's not exactly if you wanted to be what it's a little bit different.
Right, it's a little bit different, but it kind of goes into the whole like just I don't know, like making it happen and just kind of operating in a certain way.
Yeah. What brought it up is because I'm like the masculine, the energy, like men like to do that pursuit. And then it made me think of this whole situation.
Yeah.
And I do want to ask the ladies really quick. Do you want to be walked to the car?
I would say anyone says yes.
And I'm talking about more specifically in the evening. Like if you went on a date, if you went to his place, anywhere, not daytime, I'll give a pass.
Yes.
But in the evening, is it are points deducted if he does not walk you to the car?
Oh, points are hardcore deducted. To me, those are so I think that's a perfect representation of standards.
Yeah.
Like versus expectation.
Yeah, that is not that is a standard. 100%.
No, what I'm saying is actually like expectations is I expect a man to be a man. I expect a man to be a gentleman and to behave just in a gentlemanly way, right?
Same.
And to have care and concern for a lady. It doesn't matter if it's in a romantic capacity or not. I expect a man to be a man, right? That's my expectation. Yeah. And then the standard is, for me, the way that I'm starting to view it, is the standard is the action. So is that expectation like executed via action, which is the standard? And the standard is you walk me to my car. The standard is you walk on the street side of the sidewalk. The standard is you don't walk in front of me. You don't walk in front of me. You lead me into a room. You let me sit down first and then you sit down. Like, again, behaving in a gentlemanly way.
Yeah. So his response was, I'm just used to dating very independent, self-sufficient women. And that is not one and the same to me. Expecting chivalry in a gentleman is not one and this as being independent.
Agreed.
So I want to hear because according to him, the ladies he dated in the past have told him they don't want that from him. So I want to hear from the ladies. Who does not want that? Because I find it so hard to believe that a woman would, no matter how independent you are, that you do not want chivalry.
See, that's the key. And I agree. I mean, this is 100% going to go up on TikTok. So, ladies, start commenting because I want to hear. Know. And also men, like, do you feel like that's even...
let's ask one right now. Caesar, thoughts on that? Should you, after a day, or Carla or anybody, should you be walking a woman to their car late night?
Yeah. See, why wouldn't you? That is great. Thank you, Caesar. Yes. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
No, but yes, I think you would be really hard pressed to find a woman stating that just because she's independent doesn't mean she doesn't accept manners.
I had a conversation with him the other day, and this got re-sparked up because he has a really good close friend that's a female, and I was like, "Did you talk to her about it?" And he was like, yeah.
Of course.
And then I was like, what did she say? And he's like, she said she thought you were being a little too much. And I was like, where are these females that you are meeting that are saying, I find that hard to believe that a girl would be like, no, I'll do it by myself. Like, it's not that we are not capable, but I'm looking for a man to be a protector, show safety, like concern for my safety.
Well, again,
show me that they care.
The expectation is that a man operates in a gentlemanly way.
It's not because I literally think that it could happen, but it's not that I literally think that I'm going to step out and I'm going to get kidnapped.
Yes.
Chances are slim. It could.
Yes.
But it's more than that.
Exactly. It's the jacket over the puddle, right? Yeah. Like it's offering a lady your hand, right? Like it's okay. Even like a perfect example, the Golden Globes. Right? When you see a woman who is in a dress and she's walking upstairs and she has to lift up her dress because it's long and she doesn't want to trip and she's, a man offers his hand out to her. These women are, you see these actresses that go and win these awards. They're incredible. They're very powerful. They're very successful women. They're incredible in their craft, right? And Does she know how to walk upstairs? Of course she can. Does she know how to walk upstairs without somebody holding her hand? Of course she can. But is it just kind and gentlemanly to offer assistance? Yes. Like those two are not the same. Being independent and expecting someone to be, again, a gentleman and being kind and caring. No, like how are those two independent of one another?
I don't, I'm not assuming. So the reason I brought it up is because I think a man should be the one pursuing. Like I that's where it comes. If he wanted to, he would. And why I say in the beginning stages, because you got to show me that you want me. And by taking a lazy effort and like, that's not showing me that you want me. I think it applies in different stages of the relationship, but I think it heavily applies in the pursuit.
See, I believe that it does. I agree that it matters throughout the entire portion. Yeah. But I also feel like sometimes it's a little bit mismanaged from women because they sit there and they think like in the beginning, especially in the beginning, and this is where I feel like you have to be careful, or where I would tell any woman to be careful if she's using this thought process. Because one, I think it's just a very limited view and you're trying to cast a blanket over something that can be very complex. But in the beginning, a lot of times, and again, it depends, right?
Yeah.
With being walked to your car, that's not something I don't think needs to be communicated to a man. I think that should just be natural and normal because a man should be doing that in any capacity, romantic or otherwise. Yeah. I think he should just be doing that normally.
Caesar just did a thumbs up. Caesar's like, yes, he's shaking his head. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so then, but then there's also certain things that a man may not know about you and has to learn about you. And that's where communication comes in.
But I think that's when it comes more into like a guy, like how you like romance and how you, the little things like that. Right. I think for me, it's more like when they don't text you, when they don't plan dates and when they don't put in that type of effort, I think it strongly applies. If he wanted to, he would.
See, and I think that with planning dates, 100%, it doesn't even fall into if he wanted to, he would. That's not a man who knows how to date. And frankly, for me, that's not a man that I want to date. You're disqualifying yourself, right? I'm not here to be your mom and teach you how to date. I'm not your dad and teaching you how to date. At my age, mind you, everyone, I'm 37. I'm going to be 38 in April. So like if I'm dating a man who's also 38 or 40, I expect you to know how to be a man. Like you are a full-blown man.
Agree.
But as far as texting or things of that nature, that I believe honestly comes into communication. And that comes into he may not be a texter like you. He may not know exactly the type of texting that you like or the level of communication that you like.
No, I agree. The level of communication. But I think what weighs the heaviest is the planning. What weighs the heaviest is the effort. Is the girls make excuses of like, well, he's busy, he's that. No, if he wanted to, he would. You know, where I will strongly say if he wanted to, he would is because Gomer, where we're going to circle back to really quick, had a very high level job.
Yeah.
Very high level.
Yeah.
He made an effort every single night to call me, regardless of what his day was like. It didn't matter if he had the craziest day. There was not one night he did not call me, whether it was 10 minutes or 4 hours.
Right.
That's what I mean, though, if he wanted to, he would. Because now people are like, well, I'm busy and all that. I'm talking about a guy that is at an extremely high level. So it's like, if a guy like that can do it, what is your excuse?
Well, but also, I will say with that, you also didn't live in the same place. So that was one of the only ways that he could communicate with you. I'm just saying.
But I'm saying, I agree with you in that sense. That's the only way he could. But how easy would it be for guys to be like, I'm tired, I'm this?
No,
so
totally
easy.
So and that's where I feel like, again, this is where the statement can get tricky because I think that goes deeper than this statement. I don't think it's even like, oh, if he wanted to, he would. I think he was truly interested in you. He was truly wanting to get to know you.
Don't they go together? If you're interested in me, then you're going to do it. That's why I think the interest level is not that high when you're slipping in these areas.
So I think in the beginning, this is where it can be a little bit convoluted because I think that it 100% applies. Like if you have a great first date from your perspective, let's say I go on a first date and later that night, when I get home, I say, hi, I'm home. Thank you so much for a really great time. It was, or thank you for a great night. I had such a good time getting to know you. I'd love to see you again, right? Because what you do is you let a man know that you are interested, but then you let him say, okay, how about Tuesday? How about Wednesday or whatever, right? I agree. This is what you do. So when I have made that clear that I would like to see him again, so he knows that there's an open door, but he chooses not to walk through it, that's 100%. He's just not interested. That's all. So that's kind of when I do feel like if he wanted to, he would, does come into play. But it's very simple. To me, that's a very straightforward black and white situation. He's not interested. It's not even like, well, maybe he got busy or maybe he doesn't know, or maybe I needed to be a little bit. It's like, no, sweetie. Like, he's just not interested in seeing you again. I think
also, if I'm going to be honest, is there are some exceptions to this, but if he's taking 24 hours to respond to your text,
I don't agree with that.
Because how hard is it? How hard is it? It's communicating. How hard is it to be like, look, I'm having a crazy day. You're not going to be hearing from me or whatever. So to me,
but again,
the fact that you're able to,
I don't agree.
I agree. 24 hours and like, how hard is it? We are on our phones 24/7. We are the generation that is on our phones. Right, you can't make excuses for that.
No, but
I'm not saying to have a full-blown conversation, but if you can take that long to respond to my text, that shows me your interest level.
See, to me, I think that's where I would not use that as a metric or barometer of how interested they are. Because again, that to me, that's communication. He may not, and again, men are not super intuitive. So that man that I'm talking to may not know that, like, oh, it probably would have been good to like text her.
We're not talking to like 50-year-old men here. Like, no. I don't agree. And we're gonna go back to homie that I just brought up. He has in the communication, he has set the bar so high that I'm like, I don't take excuses for anything. You're busy, nothing, because I saw a man that was actually busy and made it happen.
Who, Gomer?
Yeah. Well, and I don't care distance or what. I don't care.
I just don't.
So to me,
but also you found someone.
If you can take 24 hours or more to respond to a text, you're not that interested in me because
I don't agree.
How? So what? Okay, let's look at it on the other side. Do you take 24 hours to respond to a man that you're interested in?
No, because I'm. But no, because I'm also someone who's an anxious texter. I'm also somebody who is very much, if I don't do this, then they're going to lose interest. I have a lot of issues with it. This is what I'm saying. No, this is what I'm saying.
I don't, because all right, we're gonna bring Caesar back in. Caesar, 24 hours to respond.
If I like somebody.
All right, that's what I mean. My point is
that's Caesar. You can't take one person.
I have talked to a lot of men in my life. You know,
this is true.
Unproudly.
This is true.
And I have yet to come across a guy that has taken that long to respond to me that is actually interested in me. I have yet to come across that took like a day or two to respond and actually had a strong interest in me.
The thing is, but this is what I'm saying, is using that though as
what am I supposed to use? I'm using my like real life experiences.
No, but this is what I'm saying, because sometimes out of those men, even though like Gomer, even though he had called and texted, he was interested, where did that end up?
That's like a whole different. We're talking about that's a whole different emotional. I'm just saying very simply, if you wanted to, you would. If you wanted to make the time, he would. That's what I mean. Very black and white. Simply.
I think it can get very convoluted.
We're gonna get into. Name me one person that you know that was in this weird thing where he barely responded or barely texted, and they are something right now.
Because I don't know anybody. But I also don't know the origin stories of some of the people that are married.
That is interested will fucking pursue you, and I will die on that hill.
No, I think that they will pursue you, but I don't think it always looks the same, and I don't think that you can sit there and use a blanket statement and say, nope, if you wanted to, he would. 24 hours, that's it. Like, if that's the way that you want to.
Oh, he's coming in. Let's go, Caesar.
Okay, so you're saying it's about texting you. Why wouldn't the guy like want to feel good? How busy do you have to be?
See, but that's what I'm saying.
Even what I'm saying is, I was talking to someone who was a high level, a more demanding job than a doctor, and was still calling me every night. So I just don't.
But what I'm saying,
I agree with him. It's like
to me, if you're interested in a girl or you're interested in a male, they're on your mind. You want to talk to them. I'm not saying you may have a day that you can't talk to them for hours or whatnot, but the fact that you're taking that long to respond shows me that, like, yeah, maybe they're for you, but you don't want to talk to me that bad.
See, but that's what I'm saying. I think when you start using that, you're putting your expectation. This is how I like it. This is how I would feel. This is what I would do. And you're not meeting that and you're not doing that. Therefore, you are not interested.
Because as women, what do we go off of? Actions.
Yes.
So how are your actions showing me that you're interested?
See, but this is what I'm saying. Well, okay. So, but is there effort on planning a date? Is there, okay, maybe I'm not that type of texter and I take a little bit longer, but the next time I text you, I'm saying, hey, I'd love to see you again. Are you free Tuesday night at 7? I know this great restaurant and I'd love to take you.
Yeah, like, obviously it's not we're talking about a very simple thing and there's more layers to it, of course.
That's what I'm saying, it gets dangerous.
It does get dangerous, but I just think that it just depends. Usually, in that circumstance, if a guy's taking that long to respond to you, it's not that common that you are going to be he's going to be hitting you up to plan a date. Like, he may hit you up to hang out.
Maybe, maybe not.
But I don't know many situations. Again, like, we counted how many dates I went on last year. I yet to have experienced that. Like, in my 31, almost 32 years, I have never experienced a guy being so bad at communication and actually been like, no, I was super into you.
But this is what I'm saying, though. Level of interest is, it's like, okay, maybe you are interested or whatever, but that's why I say it gets dangerous when you use that, because then you take that and you're like, oh, well then
I think it's different. Like, I think if you're starting out to date, like, I'm not saying you need to text me every day. That's very different. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you have to take that long to respond to a text, that is weird.
I don't know. I
don't think you can't expect someone to be texting you every day when you're in the beginning phase.
Correct.
Like, you're getting to know each other, all of those things.
I agree.
But if you're having a conversation and it's taking 24 hours to reply, yeah, no, that's an issue.
I don't know. This is what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying, if you use the term, or if you use the statement, well, if he wanted to, he would, to kind of cover all these actions, it's like, that's where it gets dangerous. Because what if he is not that type of texter? Or what if it's like, oh, I had a really slow period right now with work. Like, I don't know, and then now I'm just not on my phone.
Where's that communication?
But this is what
Where's that communication of saying that, like, hey, I'm having a busy day, you're not going to hear from me.
But this is what I'm saying, is that he also may not feel like that needs to be communicated. Again, men sometimes are not super intuitive. Also, men don't feel like it may be a big deal.
Men are hunters, and if they want your ass, you'll know. I
think that is true to an extent. But when you start using it to, again, be a blanket statement over so many different actions, I think you lose the nuance, and you also just lose kind of just like, well, there's a lot more that goes into it. It's not just so clear-cut black and white. Like I said, I think clear-cut black and white is like, you've said, I want to see you again, and he doesn't make an effort to see you again. He doesn't want you. Yeah. That's it. If he wanted to, he would. I think that if you, like, when you have like super clear intentions and they're not aligning with the actions, right? So if, again, like you are saying like, I don't know, like, I'm feeling this way, or I would like to see where this goes. And he's like, well, let's just play it casual. If he wanted to, he would, like, clear cut. He's not interested in you. So that's when you have to cut it off, right? I think that's when you can truly, like, that's when that statement fully applies.
Yeah.
But then I think when you start getting into the sub-layers, pieces of it apply. Percentages of it apply. That's my perspective.
I get what you're saying. Pieces of it apply. I just think that some of these things go hand in hand.
I agree. I think sometimes it does. I think that there are times where it's like, yeah, there would be that piece. But again, it's a piece of the pie. It's not the whole pie. It's not the entire puzzle. It is a piece of it. But that's why we're bringing it down, right? Because I feel like it does miss out on, like, well, human beings are very complex. Like,
they are very complex. I don't know.
And especially with emotions. So, okay. So then let's talk about let's talk about the video.
Okay.
I feel like this would be a good time.
Okay.
Because this is a very interesting video that we had found. And I really like her explanation. And this is kind of what started the debate.
I go hit yes and no with her ass.
Yeah, I know. No, it's fair.
Here are 3 reasons why if he wanted to, he would is the worst dating advice you're ever going to receive. And for anybody that wants to clap back in the comments and say, well, I still think if he wanted to, he would. let me know how your dating life is working for you, because it seems like you don't want to take any personal accountability or understand that people operate differently. And I'd love to know, how are things if you're going to still hold on to those statements?
How are things?
1, it lacks nuance and
it has
empathy.
more to do than that.
Not everybody acts in the same way you do. And you're assuming that just because somebody wants something, that all of a sudden they have the bandwidth and the tools in order to get that. So that's like me saying, well, if you didn't want to be anxious, you wouldn't. So it's just that easy, right? When it has nothing to do with that. Some people have a fear of rejection. Some people have deep-rooted childhood fucking traumas that cause them to not be able to show up in the way they might want to. And by chalking it up to saying, well, if he wanted to, he would, you're completely discrediting that people behave differently, and not everybody is going to act in the way that you do just because they want something. I want to be a millionaire. Well, I guess I must not want it bad enough then if I'm just not getting it right now.
I agree.
2,
you don't want
it
it bad
overlooks
enough.
the importance of communication when dating and in a relationship. Assuming that if he wanted to, he would, that means people can read your mind. So that means people must just know exactly how you want to be communicated and you want to be treated without taking any personal responsibility or ownership of expressing that to somebody else. And so instead of making assumptions, we can just clearly communicate like adults so that people know exactly where we are on the map. And if they're not able to show up in the ways that we might want them to, then instead of saying, well, he must just not want it bad enough, we can have compassion and understanding that people are at a different place in their life than maybe where we are. And 3, it promotes a passive approach to relationships. Relationships are built on mutual effort, reciprocity, and consistency. And by saying if he wanted to, he would, is taking a passive approach. Well, this person has to be doing everything and they have to lead the way and they have to prove to me that they want me. Well, then they must just not want it bad enough. Here are 3 reasons why if you wanted
The last one, that's not what we're saying. We're not saying that the girl should just be.
Yeah, we're definitely not saying that a girl should take a backseat approach. But some women do that,
okay,
though.
let's just talk about everything she just said, because if you have all these traumas and issues, is really dating what you should be doing right now? Maybe, you know what? So maybe you should, this is where I don't agree with her, is maybe you should figure that out before then you get into that dating pool, because that's not an excuse. You should be ready and not be dealing with these traumas and all of that before we get into the pool. Should I be giving grace for someone who hasn't dealt with that themselves?
Yes. Yes,
no,
absolutely.
I don't think you should be dating until you have the capacity to date.
No, absolutely. I agree with that. You should not be dating unless you have the capacity mentally, emotionally, physically, financially to date, right? But here's the thing. A lot of times people don't necessarily understand that there's things that they need to work through, or they have worked through things, but maybe there's other things that come up right as you go along in life. It's not black and white. You don't sit there and go to therapy once and bing, bing, boom, you're healed. Like, oh, I've been in therapy for a year. There's still so much more that I need to unpack, right?
But you in your therapy for a year, you said yourself, I'm not ready to date.
Absolutely.
That's my point. Right. You said, I'm not ready for that.
Right. But also that's why I'm saying that, and I think that's where she makes a good point, is that sometimes it's not a matter of if he wanted to, he would. It's this person doesn't have the bandwidth to do it.
Then
she says that in a different video.
Dating.
But here's the thing though. You can't sit there.
Caesar's like, yes.
No, I 100% agree. Then you shouldn't be dating. But that's never going to happen. We're not going to live in a world where anybody, men or women, are going to sit there and then say, guess what?
I get that, but if you don't have the emotional bandwidth to do it, then you need to take care of yourself.
But then that's the thing, though, is that you're recognizing, hey, this may not be an issue of if you wanted to, you would, because this person does want it. They do what they would like to be with you, but they don't know how to do it.
Let's just play devil's advocate here. Okay. If they didn't want to be with me, then why don't you handle and figure all that stuff out and then circle back? Like, if you wanted to be with me that bad or whatever, if you cared for me that much, then why don't you go through this healing journey of yourself so that we could be together?
Because I think that's also a very selfish statement to make. If you wanted me enough, you would go and do that for me.
But you're saying that there are situations where, like, I want you so much, but I have all these other things to deal with. So it's like, okay, then you don't want me more bad. Like, I'm going to go against what she said. You don't want me enough.
No.
You don't want to go through the hardship that you would have to heal and all the trauma and all that.
But again,
to be with me.
There's people that don't think that they need to. There's people that would sit there and be like, well, I don't think that I need to go through anything. I don't think that I need to heal anything. I just think that this is how I am. Or they don't even know where to start. Or they may not just have, again, self-awareness, right? For me, I recognized I'm very self-aware. Like I really am. Sometimes I think maybe a little bit too much, but like I'm very self-aware. And that's right. I did say, I was like, I'm not in the capacity to date. I cannot do that right now because I can't function in a relationship, and that would not be helpful for that person. And it's not about, if there was somebody, I would do it for them. That's why I'm saying you have to be very careful with that statement. Because
I agree with some things she says, but I think that is more of the rare situation than what really is happening. Like, I think and then I hate her. You like this comp, but I hate her. If I want to be a millionaire, I would, because you could.
Well, no, what she said is if you wanted to be a millionaire, well, then it's not happening right now, so you must not want it that bad.
But that is true. I think that's
not.
I think that's with a lot of things, not just relationships. When it comes to losing weight, when it comes to all these things, if you want it bad enough, you will sacrifice and no, you will though.
I think that is such an oversimplification.
I don't agree. I think just like successful people are successful because they're willing to do what people are not willing to do.
Yes, but
that's a 1% is willing. Are you like, let's just do like Mark Wahlberg. He wakes up at 4 a.m. to do his routine's insane.
Right.
How many people do you know are willing to do that?
Right, but the thing is,
but a lot of people are successful because they're willing to do what others are not willing to do.
But that's what she's saying. You're looking at the success portion of it. You're not. That's like going back to when Mark Wahlberg was first starting out, and because he wasn't famous yet, you're saying to him, that would be like going to him again when he's not famous and being like, "You're not famous yet. You must not want it bad enough."
No, I don't think.
But that's exactly how it is. That's exactly the same thing, because you are looking at somebody once they're successful, right? You're looking at somebody once they're a millionaire, but you're not looking at all the times that every single time they tried and they failed. And somebody could look at them. I think you are though.
No, I don't. I do think in certain things that if you do want something, and this applies to a lot, if you put in the effort and the work to get there, then you will. It's so easy to say all these things of like, I want this to happen, but what are you doing to make it happen?
Yes, but the thing is, that's the difference between the statements is saying, okay, so then what the action behind it, right?
So her statement, so what is the action behind I want to be a millionaire?
That's the thing though, that's why that statement is just so it's dumb, to be honest, because what she's saying is it's not saying what are you doing to be a millionaire, because that would be a valuable question of saying like, well, you say that you want to be in a relationship, so then what are you doing about it? Like, are you going out? Like, what have you done? Have you done the work? That is a reasonable and valuable question. Just same thing, like if I'm saying I want to lose weight and you said, well, what are you doing about it? Right? Yeah. Versus just saying to me, well, you must not want it bad enough. But I have PCOS. I have other factors that influence what's going on here, right? So sometimes it's not even about how bad I want it. Sometimes it's just like there's other external factors that are impacting this.
For sure, and everything. But I'm very different in a lot of ways where I'm like, if it may be harder for someone to get to a certain goal.
Well, it would be the same thing if I looked at you and I said, well, are you married?
Yeah.
No, are you married right now? No. Okay, so then you must not want it bad enough.
I don't think it's the same thing.
But that's how dumb of a blanket statement it is, right?
No,
now it would be different if
you're taking it from like that, from when it's a dating scene where you're talking to somebody, you're going on dates with somebody, and someone is physically there, and then you don't want it bad enough then.
Right. See, but this is what I'm saying. If I said, are you married? And you said no. And I would say, oh, like, how come you're not married? Or like, are you dating? Like, are you doing anything to like get yourself to like a position to be married? You say, yeah, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Like, that's more of a valuable question. So that's why I say the whole blanket statement of, well, if he wanted to, he would. It's like, whoa, wait. Like, what's the action? What's happening? Like, who is this person? You start allowing yourself to dig into getting to know the person and their actions, and then recognizing, oh, you say you want to date, and which means that you have to be open and vulnerable, yet you choose not to do that. Or, you would need to maybe go to therapy and work on yourself, and you are not wanting to do the work. So therefore, It's not about you necessarily not wanting it bad enough. It's you are not looking to put in the effort where you need to put in the effort. Like, I don't even think it comes down to like, oh, well, you don't want it enough. Like, we all want a lot of things, but it's just, okay, so you're not willing to take a certain action then. Like you are not willing to go down that road that requires of you, right?
Well,
like,
that's what I'm saying though. A man is not willing to take those actions because he's not that interested.
No, but that's what I'm saying. It's not necessarily just like, well, he's not maybe that interested. It's like, no, maybe he is like Gomer, right?
But that's the thing. We were going to talk about Gomer. This stuff didn't come out till months later. But when we're talking about the pursuit and the actions of showing he's interested in wanting me, very different.
But that's what I'm saying.
But the other things came out later.
But even 3 months into it, it was like, wait, why are we confused? Why am I getting mixed messages from you? I don't know where I stand, all this different stuff. But yet he was saying, I care about you a lot.
Yes, and I think you and I differ differently. Because to me, you give him more grace in that. And to me, it's like, no, he didn't want me enough. I do think of that. He didn't want the relationship enough.
See, but this is where I'm saying I think it's dangerous for women to think that way because it's not about you. It is not about you and his desire and want for it.
I don't know. All I can go off, and it's not even about what other people say or what I've read, is from my life experiences, the relationships I have been in. I have never come across a guy that was sat there and said, I want you so bad, but I'm not going to date you. I have never come across that truly has like genuine feelings for me and wants, I see everything with you, but you know what?
So you don't think Gomer had true feelings for you?
I'm not saying, I think there are different levels of feelings. I think there's like, just like with men, it's like, I like you, but I don't see marriage with you. I think there are different levels. So I think with him, I do have feelings for you, but I don't know if I want to do what it takes to move across the state for you, or a country or whatever. You know what I mean? Move to a different state. I can't speak. I don't like you to that level to maybe want to do all of those things. So that's what I'm saying is if he wanted to, he would. So if I meant to that level to him, then he would. I just don't mean to that level. It doesn't mean he doesn't care about me at all. I'm just not at that level.
See, and I would disagree with that because I think that he could see a life with you. I think he used other things to make it an excuse, but I think that he truly saw things about you. But again, I think that's that's the danger that lies in that statement. It's like, oh, then I wasn't worth it. That's where I
don't take it as I wasn't worth it. Like I take it as more like, I get why you would take it, but why people take it because I have taken it like that in the past. But with him, it's like, no, I take it as simply like he did care for me, he did have feelings for me, but it wasn't strong enough.
See, and that's what I'm saying is, well, and I could see it in a sense of like the desire, like one overpowers another, right? Type of thing. But I also think that there's like, just again, there's more complexity because I just think that there's so many emotions and so many feelings and thoughts and things it's like somebody who's an alcoholic. Like, it's like, oh, well, if you wanted to stop drinking, you would. And it's like, well, it goes deeper than that. I have trauma. I have hurt. I'm trying to numb something. That's where I get. It's like, well, then if you wanted to, then you would get the help too. See, but again, that's where I say like it goes into. But like
you know me. I'm a very.
You are. This obviously I think you all know this by now. This is where Sana and I very much differ.
Because I'm very much. I do it. Yes. I walk the talk. If I want something, I'm going after it, Right. So for me, it's very hard to give grace to people, which maybe I should more, is because I'm big believer on if you want it, you go after it. You make it happen. You sacrifice. I used to be a fatty. I didn't eat bread for 3 months. I didn't drink alcohol for 3 months. You think I enjoyed? I'm a carbie. I love eating bread. Right. You think I enjoyed not doing that? No, but I wanted it bad enough.
See, but I
want to know, how many people do you know? Like, let's just talk about that. How many people do you know that would sit there and say, I want to lose weight, and I'll say, well, give up bread for 3 months? How many people that would be like, all right, I'll do it?
No, I mean, there's some, right?
But like, that's where I go down to. Like, if you did want it bad enough, you will take that sacrifice.
But also, it's not even sometimes it's want. It's also just, you said it yourself. That's the type of person that you are. You also are a person that's like, I'm very disciplined. I know how to do this. I have the resources to do this. I have the conviction to do this. Like, that's who you are as a person. Not everybody is like that. So that's why I say sometimes it doesn't even come down to want. It also comes down to other complexities of who you are as a human, right? Like, that's something that I've told you that I admire about you is your ability to cut shit off. Like, you're like, nope, I'm done. Like, and you cut it off where I'm like, well, right? Like, so that's what I'm saying is that you've even, that's exactly
I think
the point.
we are getting into way deeper levels. I mean, I see it as if a man wants to pursue you, he will. That's the way I see it. If he wants to pursue you, he will. And I'm not saying that he may not have feelings for you, but I think they come in very different levels.
But I think that's also something, though, that it's interesting that you say that, because I think as women, that's what happens, is that we also put together pursuit with like feelings, right? So unlike you were saying about like Gomer, like, oh, he cared about me, but then he didn't care about me enough or whatever. And so that's why I say like the oversimplification is dangerous, because it does start getting into the territory of like worth or feelings, or then I'm not, I'm just not at that level for you or whatever. When really, and like I always told you this in the situation, it had nothing to do with you. And it had nothing, I don't even think it had anything to do with your feelings.
But see, that's what's funny with him. If we're going to talk about him, he was aware.
Oh,
okay, so you're talking about someone, if they're not aware. He was aware, but he didn't want to take the actions. So where does that lead then?
Correct. Because also, it's one of those things with him. I don't know him to this extent, so I can only talk about it to the limited extent that I know him. But it could be, it's very scary to open up and to go to therapy and start opening up Pandora's box. It is. It's very scary. It's also very hard.
Okay, but then that's where I get. So then that's super scary, but also losing somebody that you saw, quote unquote, because I actually think that, I say it differently, but you saw a future with, that's not scary?
No, that's the thing.
So if I meant that much to you, that wouldn't scare you, the thought of losing me?
It does, but
so that wouldn't kick you in the ass and be like, hey, maybe I should get my shit right so that I don't lose the thing that I really care for.
See, but that's what I'm saying. It doesn't break down to that.
Because you didn't see that future that strong with me. And I'm going to stand on this hill. If you saw me as potentially the love of your life, the woman you wanted to marry, all of those things, I don't think you would just, like, the thought of losing me should scare you.
And maybe it did. Who said it didn't?
But not enough.
See, but that's what you're saying. It's like not enough to you, to the way that your standards, right? Because you would operate differently. But how many people,
like for you, if you thought someone was going to be the love of your life or whatever, would you just let them slip away?
No, I wouldn't. But I'm also someone who wants to do work. I am also someone who is open to sitting there and being like ripped apart. I just don't know very many people. And again, there's always going to be exceptions to this. There's always going to be anomalies, all these things. But I just don't know very many people that would, if they had this deep feeling for somebody, male or female, would be willing to lose it. But then, and she even says this in her video, then there wouldn't be any divorces. Like, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't come down to want. It doesn't come down to like my feelings. No, but divorce is different
because sometimes people get married to the wrong person. They're like, you don't work in the relationship. Like those, there are many
it's like, okay, well, then you don't want enough. You don't want a successful marriage enough.
There's many reasons why people get divorced. People get cheated on. But there's many reasons.
But that's exactly what I'm saying, is that this blanket statement covers such complexities just because relationships are complex. Men, women, we're complex human beings. That's why I'm saying it. Yes, you're right. Divorce is very complex. There's a lot of shit that goes down. But just because you get divorced, it's like, well, you didn't want a successful marriage enough. You didn't want it enough.
No, I think like, you're comparing different things. Like you're comparing things that this is, to me, there is a level of black and white to it when it comes to the.
I think at certain
that's why I say if he wanted to, he would. Is a pretty black and white for me. You were talking about things that are way more complex, and we're getting to things that are like, don't fully apply. To me, it's like simply, if he wanted to pursue you, he would. But if he wanted to take you out, he would. But if he wanted to show his interest to you, he would.
But that's
if he wanted to date you, he would.
But that's what I'm saying. It's not necessarily always about want. That's why I think that word is dangerous. Like, oh, you don't want it enough. It's like, no, there's a lot of things that happen in this world that's not about want. It's about, and she says this in another video, it's about bandwidth. Do I even have the bandwidth to do it? That's what you should be looking at. You shouldn't be looking at it like, oh, if he wanted to, he would. Because then the other problem is girls go into, well, if he wanted to, he would. And like, if not him, then someone else will. And it's like, bitch, like, it may not necessarily be about you. Maybe you should start looking at people as complex human beings and understanding that, you know what? It's not that you wanted to, you would, or your feelings aren't strong enough for me. It's just you clearly don't have the bandwidth, whatever that is. It could be something very deep. It could be something very, very shallow. But the point is that it's about the bandwidth, and that's not something that I want to entertain. Because another part of this is it does start playing into like, I'm not worth it. Why am I not worth it? How come he didn't like me enough? How come his feelings for me weren't strong enough?
I get there are the exceptions and all this stuff, but I don't agree. I think from my experience, and a lot of girls in the comments don't agree too. When it comes to dating and a man showing interest in going after what they want, I don't know many men that would just, if that woman really meant that much to them, that would let it slip away. I even saw a video like where I'm saying it's like, from a man, it's like when I'm so into a girl, the thought of losing her scares me. Mm-hmm. That should be, and if that's not there for him,
But here's the thing, so what? Then again, there wouldn't be divorces. That's what I'm saying.
That's different. It's like falling out of love. It's like not putting into a relationship.
It scares you. It scares men. Are you kidding me? It can absolutely scare somebody. The thought of getting divorced, the thought of not having a successful marriage, like it can be, or losing that person.
But that's so different.
That can be very scary. See, but that's what I'm saying is that a person is complex from the beginning all the way to the end. They don't change the complexities of somebody, of just a human being and having multiple feelings. That is there from the beginning all the way to the end. You are just figuring them out as you go. I don't know.
I think for me, I'm gonna stick with there's different levels of what a guy wants. Like there's different levels of how much they like you.
I mean, yeah, that's just like how you normally like, progress in a relationship.
No, but there's different levels of totally. But I'm saying is depending on how the level they feel about you is the if you wanted to would applies.
I don't fully,
he's not that into you if he's not going to do these things.
In the beginning, right? Again, if he's not asking you on a second date, he's not into you. That's just it.
Yeah. But we are talking mostly in the beginning. When we see these videos online and stuff, it is the beginning of you just getting to know each other and dating. We're not talking about when you're already in a relationship and when you're already that's different.
But here's the thing. There's girls that are using that when they are in the relationship. There's girls that are posting and they're just like, ladies, this is 100% if he wanted to, he would. And it's like bouquets of flowers and shit. And it's like, yeah, how long have you guys been fucking dating? Are you guys married? Like, and they start using that as the like,
totally.
The barometer.
But I do think to a level, if he wanted to, he would.
Again, to a level.
To like a 90% level. I'm at like a 90-10. I think there's a 10% exception, but I'm at like a strong 90. I think you're like a 50-50.
I'm at a 50-50. I can maybe
Caesar,
be 60-40.
what's your percent? If he wanted to, he would. 50-50, yeah. Wow.
Because again, I think that there's more complexities. I think that this is what happens, and this is my other problem with it, is that it starts oversimplifying dating and it starts oversimplifying people. And then we just start seeing them as like, oh, you're a black and white creature. And to be honest,
but
like
I think in the beginning, like my stance is very strong in the pursuit phase. If he wanted to, he would. I feel very strongly in that.
I see, and this is what here's what I'll say. I agree with when, again, the very, very beginning of were you asked out on a second date? No, like he doesn't want it. Like he just doesn't. And I've been there. I mean, how many times have I been there and been like, oh, well, maybe I didn't say this enough, or well, I don't know if I gave him enough sign of like whatever, right? It's like, he just is not into you. That's all. It's just, he's just not interested, which is fine, right? You guys just had different.
And I will agree. I think it gets complex when we are adding in these other layers. That's different. Like, I think we're talking about very different things.
Maybe, but I agree with that. But I also feel like maybe there's just, but that's why I say, the whole statement of if he wanted to, he would, it doesn't really go past really a lot for me. Even in the beginning, it's like maybe if he's asking you out on a second date or making an effort, right, to plan a date, to sit there and say, hey, I made a reservation. You said you like Italian food. There's this new restaurant, blah, blah, blah. Honestly, maybe like 2 to 4 things. Past that, I don't think you can use it.
I don't know. I've just also had some experiences in my life that I'm like, if they want to put in that effort, they will.
Again, I think it's starting to look at it from like a different perspective of like, and maybe we're just saying it differently. That could also be a situation where it's just like, again, like bandwidth. Like, do you have the bandwidth to even do this? Like, do you have the bandwidth to be vulnerable or do this or whatever?
But then it goes back to then you need to recognize that you shouldn't be dating.
Oh, no, 100%. I mean, that's a whole nother episode. That's where she brings in. It's
like, then you need to recognize that. That's a whole thing, a different thing. If you have all these, and almost everybody has issues.
Oh, of course.
But if you don't know how to deal with them, finding a girlfriend or a boyfriend is not where you need to be.
It's not your priority. Absolutely.
So then that's my other issue with it. It's like, then you need to, like, no, don't be dating.
No, of course. That's right. But that's what we're saying. We can't control who's out there, right?
Yeah.
I can't control. That's where you can control your controllables, have your boundaries. And so that's what I'm saying. If you start looking at it instead of like, well, if he wanted to, he would, and just using a very, I think, arbitrary statement, and start looking at it from the perspective of like, okay, I don't really care how you feel about me. I'm going to look at your actions, and I'm going to say, it looks like you don't have the bandwidth to do this, right? Or what's my expectation, and is that being acted out in the standard, right? Like with this current dude, how much does he like you? If he wanted to, he would, Sana. If you wanted to be a gentleman and he liked you enough, he would walk you out to your car, right? And so I could go to him and be like, well, then you don't like her enough. You don't want this enough. You don't want something with her enough. Am I right? Am I wrong? Who knows, right? So that's what I'm saying. It's more complex than that. And you've recognized that it's more complex than that. So what I'm saying is,
I think though I don't know.
I'm just saying that I think people as women, and even just in dating in general, start seeing it from a more like, and maybe it's understanding or maybe it's not empathetic, but I think you just need to start seeing humans for humans. But that also doesn't mean then that you accept bad behavior. This is the caveat though. I'm not saying that means that you're just like, well, that's okay. It's like, no, because I have an expectation. It's not being acted out in the proper standard, in the proper way. So therefore, I'm going to see that you don't have the bandwidth to do that. Therefore, I'm going to excuse myself. I'm not asking you to change your behavior. I'm not asking you to do anything different. I'm just going to excuse myself. Because I'm also not saying like, if he doesn't want, if there is no planning or pursuit or something that you just like hang on and just understand that he just doesn't have the bandwidth right now. It's like, no, then I'm going to move on, right? So, but I think coming at it from the perspective initially, just understanding that want has nothing to do with it. That's my thing. Is I don't think want has anything to do with it. Want
plays a factor in it
for you.
Yeah,
that's fair. All right, I think we might be at time. I'm not sure, to be honest, but. We hope you all enjoyed this.
Yeah,
this is typically our conversations.
It was heated.
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
This is what makes us, to be honest.
It does.
And this is what I enjoy. I enjoy hearing, different perspectives and different, thoughts and opinions, because that's what makes our world go round.
Yes.
So we hope you all enjoyed it. We'd love to know all of your thoughts.
I know. Well, I think you articulated this one way better than me. So Jackie's
you had really good points.
Jackie's debating abilities are sometimes better than mine because I can always get my words out.
She's like, listen,
yeah,
it doesn't matter. No, it was good.
She articulates better than me.
No, you had really good points. So we'd love to hear what your guys' thoughts are. About should a woman always be walked to her car just by a man?
And are there women out there that don't want that?
Yeah, and are there women that don't want that? And if you don't,
I want to have a chat with you if you don't.
Reach out to us. Come onto the pod because we'd really love to talk about this.
I would want to understand why you don't want it.
Yes, no, 100%. No shame and no shame, but just I just want to understand. I would love to understand your perspective. Yeah. We would. And then also, what are your guys' thoughts on if he wanted to, he would?
All right, squad. Have a good rest of your week. We'll see you in 2.
Bye, gang.